Hello, and welcome to another day. Hope you are well. So, as of right now, the day 2 of the Amazon gift card giveaways are out there, and if you want to win, go to Season 4, Episode 16, and check out the trivia question for yesterday. The way it works is you have to be a subscriber of this channel, you have to like the video, for example this one, and you have to provide the answer to the trivia question. Those are the 3 absolutes required, and this is a caveat so that there's not 100,000 comments and people are dividing up their answers. Even if it's a 2-part question, you have to provide your answer in 1 comment, because they're not going to filter through multiple comments to try and find someone's answers. So keep it to the point of the video, and make sure that you provide your answer. So if it's a 2-part answer, in your comment it would be 1 this, 2 that, whatever that particular answer is supposed to be for that day. So we'll get to the trivia question in just a few minutes. But for now, let's walk. Our mojo going, our energy going. So, as many of you will know, I'm sure any younger viewers will not know this, but a very well-known actor from the, I'll say it was the 80s and 90s, maybe 70s as well, Gene Wilder, passed away a couple of days ago at age 83. Gene Wilder is really well known for movies like Blazing Saddles, Dr. Frankenstein, and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. He was the original Willy Wonka. Although a role that was in a film that was later remade by Johnny Depp. But he originated it. And his was a more musical version. Johnny Depp's was more, I don't really know quite how to describe Johnny Depp's version. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. But he was an original, an incredible talent, and who co-starred on a couple of occasions with another fantastic comedic actor and a stand-up comedian, actually, Richard Pryor. And they starred in a number of films. The 3 that come to mind right now are Stir Crazy, which is a prison film about 2 guys in prison. Number 2 is a movie called Hear No Evil, See No Evil. And number 3 is one of my favorite films of all time, a Orient Express type movie comedy called Silver Streak. That was a great movie too. That was back in the day when we did not get so caught up on political correctness, especially with Silver Streak. And hear no evil, see no evil. But now, you offend someone every time you turn around. And we can't laugh at ourselves, even without seeming questionable towards other people. So, Gene Wilder was one of those originals that was really the last of a generation of free-flowing and sort of open comedians. He wasn't really a comedian himself per se. He was an actor and singer. Well, he was also in The Producers, which is a really good film about making it in show business and creating stars and such like that. He's really good in that. He died due to complications from Alzheimer's. And it's interesting because Alzheimer's is one of those conditions. Well, most celebrity deaths in general, you know why they died. You hear so many stories about, oh, he's sick or she's sick, and she's suffering with this or she's suffering with that. And Gene Wilder and his family kept it pretty close to the cuff. I think there might have been a few people who knew he was struggling, but for the most part, it was not out there in the mainstream media what was going on with his life. He kept himself very private, was not looking for a lot of fanfare or attention. I'll give an example of a lady, what's her name? Valerie Harper, who some may know by the name, years ago, played Rhoda Morgenstern on Mary Tyler Moore. And she came out, I want to say 2 years ago. It was at least 2 years ago. She came out and said that, nearly 2 years ago at least, she came out and said she had terminal brain cancer and only had a few months to live. Well, once again, almost 2 years ago, and she's still alive. And so you wonder if she went into recession or remission, you would think she would have been talking about it more and we would have heard about that. I think it was just one of those choices without being confirmed, one of those choices she made to try and sort of put herself back in the limelight again, and then sort of had to pull back when it wasn't working out for her as well as she hoped. But Gene Wilder and his family, most especially his family, because Alzheimer's does pretty intense things to your mental capacities. They really kept his sickness and deterioration pretty close to the family circle. And I respect that a great deal, that they did not use it as a means for getting him attention or anything like that. I'll always remember Gene Wilder as Dr. Frankenstein. And it's not Frankenstein, it's Frankenstein. You must be Igor. It's pronounced Igor. Well, they said it was Igor. Well, they was wrong, wasn't they? It's just a great movie. As they did earlier, because they had a little soft shoe number. If you get a chance, go check out Young Frankenstein. Go check out Silver Streak. Just the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, you'll see the fun that it was. Not the, I'm not gonna say it was bad, I just wasn't as big of a fan of the newer one, personally. Because I like sort of Broadway and sort of escapes from reality. And I think they sort of, in some weird way, tried to create a not a fantasy sort of fun little story with the Willy Wonka character and Charlie, but rather they tried to create almost a real world with Johnny Depp version, even though there was still crazy experiences that happened in it. And I think, in a way, they made a little fun of Michael Jackson, which I'm kind of opposed to, because I have it's not because I don't think you can't, by the way. I'm just a little bit personally protective of Michael Jackson, even though I didn't know him, because I felt like his life was, he struggled his whole life. He was treated so badly as a child, used as a product, and when he grew up, I feel like he just wanted to be around kids because they didn't want anything from him. And I think the media took advantage of people's attempts to rob him blind and really abuse him. And I just don't care for that. I think the guy had enough challenges without people doing it. He clearly had some kind of medical issues, and I'm sure some psychological damage from what had occurred in his youth. But I think Michael Jackson was a brilliant artist. I'm getting off on a tangent, but I guess my point was, because of that inclusion of that Michael Jackson-ish sort of persona that people had within the Johnny Depp version of Willy Wonka, I don't think I really cared for that as much. I think if they had implemented it with still approaching the original version, I don't think it would have been as bad. Just for me. For me. So today's trivia question is, what position in government did George Washington decline before ultimately accepting the title of President of the United States? So once again, what position in government did George Washington decline before ultimately accepting the title of President of the United States? I was cuddling with my puppies this morning, and they're just so beautiful. I love my little boys so much. They're almost 3 years old. Within months of being 3 years old. And they have so much joy and desire to play. Even at 3. I hope I can keep them doing that for most of their lives. They're so wonderful. Special little angels. If you're a dog lover, you know what I mean. And it makes you wonder. I try not to buy into the superstitions, but they say celebrities die in threes. So it makes you wonder if that's the case. Who's next? I hope no one. The thing that's fascinating to me is that so many of the people that I grew up on that were very successful in the industry already when I was a young person, they were in their mid-30s, 40s maybe. And they really are now in that 60 to 80-year-old range. And you realize that some of the greatest performers of existence within American cinema, music, entertainment in general, that they're becoming a very dying breed. I personally did not see the appeal of Justin Bieber. I don't particularly find his music very original. It all seems very much the same, with the exception of little tweaks and attempts to overuse digital sound effects. He doesn't play with original bands like the old ones did. And if he does play with musicians, there's so much distortion of the original instrument sounds that it loses something of, for me, it loses an element of purity. And so I really like, in most cases, old school musicians or musicians who try to stay true, in most cases, to the original sound that guitars had, that drums had, saxophones, trombone, the whole thing. I love those. Oh, there's nothing quite like listening to someone in sax. Oh, God. I love the saxophone and guitar and piano. How Ray Charles used a guitar. How Kenny G used a saxophone. You can't beat that. You really can't. Just some great days. And you realize how many of those guys are gone now. Kenny G's up there now. Ray Charles, obviously, we lost a number of years ago. I'm very sad. There's such a Louis Prima, Ella Fitzgerald. If you don't know who these musicians or singers are, go look them up. You're really missing out. There's something just amazing about what they could do with their voices without distortion. Just the natural talent they possessed. Adele's like that. She has a natural talent that doesn't require distortion. Her voice is haunting, like theirs were. I still remember, I'm not as big of a fan of Willie Nelson, but I remember a great song that he and Ray Charles did together called 7 Spanish Angels, which I really like. Really, really like. Look up it on YouTube, it's really good. But so many of those guys are now in their, I'm not going to say declining years, but in their mature years. They don't do as much live performing because the road is tough. I mean, Willie Nelson remarkably still tours, which I think is incredible. I have a lot of respect for it. Like I said, I'm not as big a fan of Willie. I don't think he's bad. It's just a style. I keep thinking back to Ray Charles, because he did a song that was in one of my favorite TV shows, Quantum Leap. The answer to today's trivia question, by the way, is King. And he did the song Georgia in Quantum Leap. He did the song Georgia. Georgia, Georgia. I wouldn't even be allowed in the same arena as Ray Charles, musically or singing, but just remarkable talent. Stevie Wonder. Oh, gosh. And Stevie Wonder, I really have so much respect for because as someone who has a sight challenge, Stevie Wonder has never taken himself so seriously that he can't joke about where he's at. I think Stevie's been blind since birth, if I recall. I don't really know the full story, but I know he's been, blind as long as he's been well known. And he's one of those people who doesn't really overdo his fame either. He plays, he makes people happy, he smiles, he plays. I mean, if you haven't heard Stevie Wonder, I don't know what you're waiting for. Or or I feel bad that no one's ever told you about Stevie Wonder. He's kind of country, but Ronnie Millsap, he's a blind guy, very good. Oh gosh, trying to remember some of the other people who are. It doesn't matter whether they're blind or sighted or whatever their challenge may be. Those two just happen to be blind, Ronnie Millsap and Stevie Wonder. But they're so good and so they don't look for ways to make rhymes in their songs. They tell stories. And I suppose to me, in a lot of ways, Taylor Swift does some of it now, but and I give her credit for what she's done. I think she deserves it. I'm not a big fan of Kanye because I think he's too much of an attention junkie. But there's something about it. There's a truth and sort of an honesty and a sense of disclosure in their music with people like Ronnie Millsap, Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, Adele. I give it to Taylor Swift, Josh Groban. I never know how to pronounce his name. He's a sort of an opera singer, but really talented singer. He didn't write. I think he's written most of his music. But I know a lot of these other guys have had hands in writing their own music. Taylor Swift has, Adele has. But anyways, my point was there's something that's changing in music and movies now. I mean, look how they're trying to remake films from, the glory days. And I know they're going to do it, but I will not be happy when they remake Back to the Future. Just like it wasn't when they tried to remake The Karate Kid. How many darn versions of Batman can we have? Of the Ninja Turtles can we have? I feel like even Bond. I know Daniel Craig's been very popular as Bond. But I think the Bond story has been told. I don't really know that there's anything else to tell you. And I feel like making more films that ultimately, distract or that aren't as strong, they take away from what made those stories special, unique. Like Short Circuit, a great story. And I guess I'm not downing all of the stuff that's made now because there are some really good artists. I feel like they're fewer than they were in the past, though. Those few people now I mentioned and others that I did not. There's an authenticity to their work and a soulfulness to their work that I think some of them do, not because it's soulful, but because you can be famous, you can be celebrity, you can be paid, well paid, and then the love of it is not the same. Even in football now, look at football players, they have that now too, where back in the day, some of these guys, I mean, they have their bodies are destroyed. Aikman, Emmitt Smith, one of the best running backs of all time. And if you don't know who Emmitt Smith is, then I don't know what to say. But Emmitt Smith put his body on the line, and he found those holes. And he was, in my opinion, he is one of the best running backs of all time. I think that's probably a pretty large consensus. But anyway, that was back in the days when I really enjoyed football because there was so much heart in it. So much heart. And it just doesn't seem like seems like it's fewer and far between in every realm I've been talking about. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to leave the trivia answer in one comment below. There's not multiple entries, one entry per username per day. And thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Be well.